Hi guys, welcome back to Selena's Corner. So today let's discuss MCQs based on B.Ed second year course 204 Disaster Management. This video consists MCQs based on Unit 3 as well as Unit 4. Now before we move ahead, let me tell you, I've been getting these requests from about 4 to 5 people. They have emailed me saying please make a video on how to stay motivated and focused during exams and pay attention and stuff. So I need to tell you, I'm not going to make a video on that because there's only one small little secret, that is being happy. And I feel happy when I get my 8 hours of sleep and I get chicken. Yes, I'm a big crazy chicken fan, so I eat chicken practically every day. Thus, when I found this place in Pune, I was delighted. Nothing but chicken. This is like my soul store. Nothing but chicken. This place not only serves this fresh, juicy, raw chicken, but as it also serves ready to eat items which are it's a wide spread. You can choose from it and eat one every day. There's the seekh kebabs, different types of them, salads, and this is the main item, chicken vada pav. Who would have thought of that, right? So you get practically everything and it can really motivate you to study. So right now I'm not motivated to study, I'm motivated to eat one of the vada pavs, but we need to talk about disaster management. So let's go ahead do that. Oh, and you'll find the link to Nothing But Chicken in the description box below, so do check it out. Now let's concentrate on disaster management. Question number one. The systematic approach to identifying, assessing, and reducing the risks of disaster is called dash. Option A, disaster elimination. Option B, reducing disaster. Option C, disaster plan. Or option D, disaster risk reduction. The correct answer is disaster risk reduction, DRR. Question 2. Why is disaster risk reduction important in school? Option A makes children more prepared. Option B makes them aware about risks in daily life. Option C, child feels secure and confident. Or option D, all of the above. Correct answer would be all of the above. Question 3. Is disaster risk gender neutral? Options are yes, no, maybe, I don't know. The correct answer is option B, no. Disaster risk is not gender neutral. Studies have shown that women and girls are disproportionately impacted by disasters. Basically, they are saying is women are impacted more than men when a disaster strikes. This happens because of the socially constructed gender roles. So there are certain norms of behavior that are acceptable for women and the others for men. Okay, so mostly women take part in home based tasks and they are responsible for their houses, so they are really reluctant to leave their homes and assets in case of a hazard warning. Most of the times it so happens that they don't learn any survival skills such as swimming or climbing, and thus they seem to be more affected by disasters as compared to men. Question 4. When is the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction? Is it 1st October, 13th October, 20th October, or 28th October? Correct answer is option B, 13th October. This day has been celebrated as International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction since the year 1989. Question 5. The evolution of disaster thinking and practice started in 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, or 1980s. Correct answer is option C, 1970s. Question 6. Disaster risk reduction should be integrated into formal education at the dash level. Pre-primary and primary level, secondary school level, higher secondary school level, or all of the above. Correct answer is all of the above. DRR should be integrated at all stages of formal education. Question 7. How can parents show involvement in disaster risk reduction activities in school? Option A. Volunteer on the child's school disaster preparedness committee. Option B. Make groups with other parents and raise complaints against the school. Option C. Expect the school to make and practice disaster preparedness activities as it's the school's responsibility and not the parent's job. Option D. Make sure the school has emergency procedures in place but don't bother to take note of it. So I think by now you would have realized that options B, C, and D are some things that parents shouldn't do. It is option A that is our correct answer. Question 8. What does RCC stand for? Option A, Risk Consultative Committee. Option B, Regional Consultative Committee. Option C, Rajasthan Curriculum Committee. Or option D, none of the above. Correct answer is option B, Regional Consultative Committee. The basic role of this committee is to identify disaster related needs and priorities of the countries in Asia, okay, and develop regional action strategies for disaster reduction. So these committees have been made up of senior officials from the National Disaster Management Organization of different countries around Asia. All right, so they have multiple meetings and they discuss their own experiences in their own country with disasters and how they overcame it, and basically learn from each other's experience with disaster and then implement their strategies in their own country. Question 9. The RCC was established in which year? 1998, 2000, 2002 or 2004? So the RCC was established in the year 2000. It's got 26 countries in 26 Asian countries who are members of this committee. Question 10. Who is responsible for curricular revision? Option A, Department of Curriculum. Option B, Department of Planning. Option C, Ministry of Welfare. Or option D, Ministry of Curricular Management. Correct answer is option A, Department of Curriculum under the Ministry of Education. Question 11. The DASH is the national agency mandated with the task of disaster risk reduction. Option A, NDMM. Option B, UNICEF. Option C, NDMO. Or option D, UNESCO. Correct answer is NDMO, National Disaster Management Office. Question 12. DASH involves communities in identifying, assessing and acting jointly to reduce disaster risk. Option A, Community Disaster Management. Option B, Disaster Management in School. Option C, both options A and B. Or option D, none of the above. Correct answer is option A, Community Disaster Management. Question 13. In both long-term and short-term disaster management, who is in the focus of attention? Is it the world, the nation, the individual, or the community? So it's a pretty obvious answer. It will be the community. Question 14. How many stages are there in the community-based disaster management process? Options are 4, 6, 8, or 10. Correct answer is there are 6 stages. And now we have to put these stages in sequential order. Okay, so the process will begin by initiating the process. So that's point number 1. Then we have to do community profiling. Okay, point 3 will be find out the community's risk. So risk assessment. Fourth will be risk reduction planning. Fifth will be implementing the plans and monitoring. And the last one will be evaluation and feedback of the same. So our correct answer will be 4, 5, 4, 5. Option A. Question 16. What does social mapping do? So mapping is a way to collect data about that area and use it for risk reduction plans. So under the third stage of CBDM, they have given us this point of community risk assessment and they've shown us how to do situational analysis. So mapping is one of the ways to do just that. Under mapping, they've given us 4 types. Right now, we've been asked about social mapping. Let's find out what social mapping is. Is it maps available uh, resources like wells, ponds, forests, livelihood of that area? Does social mapping map the vulnerable houses, fishermen at sea, etc.? Does it map types of houses, roads, bridges, infrastructure, etc.? Or does it map pakka houses, cyclone or flood shelters, etc.? So the correct answer is option C. It maps types of houses, roads, bridges, infrastructure, schools, post offices, everything. So basically it is social mapping. It maps all the types of resources, places, everything that is there in that area. Question 17. Mapping populace and property such as old and sick people, pregnant women, fishermen at sea, cattle, livelihood assets will be called DASH. Option A, opportunity mapping. Option B, vulnerability mapping. Option C, resource mapping. Or option D, social mapping. Now we already know social mapping encompasses everything, right? So this over here, if you see, all these people are quite vulnerable when it comes to disasters, like old people, sick people, children, pregnant women, all the men at sea, livelihood, etc. That is why this will be called vulnerability mapping. All the people and assets that are at risk when a disaster hits will come under vulnerability mapping. Question 18. Mapping of forests, agricultural land, wells, ponds, irrigation facilities, boats, health centers, and other assets are known as dash. Now, if you see the list, you will realize all these are types of resources of that area, right? Land resources, water resources, other assets, isn't it? Thus, this will be resource mapping. Question 19. Mapping of cyclone or flood shelters, pakka houses, highland area, alternate land and waterways, etc. are known as dash. Opportunity mapping, alternate route mapping, both options A and B, or none of the above. So this is definitely alternate route mapping, because when a disaster strikes, you need to go and look for safe places. This is also known as opportunity mapping, because you need to find other opportunities where people can be safe. This is also, there are three names given to this mapping. It is opportunity, safe mapping, and alternate route mapping. So our correct answer here would be both options A and B. Question 20. Efforts made to avoid upcoming and potentially disastrous events are known as dash. Hazard minimizing, disaster prevention, disaster plan, or human planning. Correct answer would be disaster prevention. Question 21. Which two parameters are used in hazard mapping? Option A, local and neighborhood parameters. Option B, cost and time parameters. Option C, human and animal parameters. Or option D, event and site parameters. The correct answer is option D. I will explain this in the next slide. Question 22. Match. So event parameter and site parameters. These are the two parameters of hazard mapping. Okay, so event parameter is it gives the nature of the hazard, like the area that, if it's a flood, then the area that is getting flooded and how much water has been accumulated, the volume of water. If it's a volcano, then what is the size of the eruption and for how long it went on. So this is the nature of the hazard that is happening there. Okay, site parameter is the impact likely to happen in the event of the disaster. So in the case of floods, what was the depth of the water, how many meters? In the case of a volcano, what all areas could get affected because of the ash and lava and dust and all that. So it covers what effects it will have on that particular site. Okay, so event parameter is everything about the hazard itself, all the details about that disaster, and site parameter is how it will affect and how much area it will affect when it strikes. So our correct answer is option B, 1 and 2. Question 23. The mixture of rock fragments, gas and ash that travels rapidly away from a volcano is called dash. Lava flow, lahars, volcanic gas, or pyroclastic flow. Answer is pyroclastic flow. Okay, so the combination of rock fragments, gas and ash, when it moves away from the volcano in this huge big cloud that it forms, and it rushes, okay, it's really fast, that is called a pyroclastic flow. More people have died because of this that as compared to the lava itself, because lava is slow moving, you can actually like run away from it, you can even walk away from it, but pyroclastic flow is so fast and it's really hot, right? It's coming from a volcano, so it's super hot, it's got these rock fragments, it's got poisonous gases, ash, you can't see anything, and you cannot run away from it since it's fast. Question 24. What is lahar? Option A, volcanic mudflows. Option B, volcanic rocks. Option C, volcanic gases. Or option D, volcanic molten rocks. Correct answer is volcanic mud flows. That is a mixture of water and ash. Now this water could be anything. It could be rainfall, or due to the volcanic eruption, the surrounding glacier or snow has melted and gotten mixed with the ash. Or it could be just water bodies that have evaporated and then formulated ice particles and getting mixed with ash. These flows are known as lahars. Question 25. Which of the following is a slow onset disaster? Droughts, landslides, volcanic eruptions, or earthquakes? Correct answer is droughts. It formulates over a period of time, and you can predict that this can happen and you can take necessary precautions to avoid it. Whereas landslides, volcanic eruptions, and earthquakes, you don't really get a lot of time, like pre-warning. Don't get too much time in advance. Thus, droughts are an slow onset disaster, whereas the others are rapid onset disasters. Thank you for watching, guys. Do click on the Nothing But Chicken link in the description box below and check it out. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.